Hello guys, and welcome back to another class of our course about the complete introduction to data science with Python. So in today's class, we are going to talk about Seaborn like in the past class. And we are still going to learn how to use this amazing visualization tool. So basically in today's class, we are going to create another type of graph, which is called the cat plot. And basically inside of this plot, what we are going to find, once again, dots or lines, or basically what's cool about it is that it will give us the higher limit and the lower limit. So basically we will be able to see, for example, what is the most popular element of the graph, for example. So to help you better understand this graph, what I propose you is a basic example. So we are still going to work with databases from GitHub in this case. And the database that we are going to use today will be the flights database. So basically, for those of you who don't know from which database we're going to take everything, so as you can see, it's from here. It's from GitHub, and basically we are going to work with the database that is right here. All right. So our goal today will simply be to understand what is the most popular month of the year to flying. So once again, this is something that is pretty simple to do, and we'll analyze the data that we have to be able to understand what is the most popular month of the year. All right, so like always, the first thing that we need to do is importing our database, and this is exactly what we'll do. So we need to create a variable to store everything. So let's create a variable and call it database. So this is our variable. And inside of this variable, we want to import our data set. So like always, what we'll do, we'll write down SB because we are making reference to Seaborn. And we will write down load data set. So we want to load the data set. So what data set we want to have? We want to have the flight data set. So in this case, we will simply write down flights. So here we go, we have our data set ready. Next thing, we want to print everything to be sure that everything works fine. So we want to print database, which is in this case the variable that we have just created. And we want to run everything. So if we have something generated right here, it means it works. If not, well, it doesn't work. So as you can see right here, we have generated absolutely everything we need. So as you can see, we have the years, the months, and the number of passengers, which is quite amazing. So we have everything that we need. All right, from now, as I said, what we want to do is we want to know in what month we have a lot of passengers inside of our flights. So this is exactly what we'll do. All right, so next thing that we want to do, since we have printed everything, we want to create our, generate our plot. So how exactly do we generate the plot? It's pretty simple. So we'll just write down sb.catplot. So this is the plot that we are going to work with. This is the type of graph. So you'll see it's pretty simple. So inside of the cat plot, what exactly we need to write down? We have 4 arguments. So 3 of those 4 arguments are mandatory. So we need them to be able to make the graph work. And we have 1 argument that is optional, but we are going to talk about it a bit later. So the first argument that we need is the x. So in our case, the x value will be the months. So basically the month will be our x value. Then we need a y value for our graph. And in our case, the y value of the graph will be the passengers. So here we go. We have the passengers. So very important, don't make any mistake when you write down those arguments, because if you make a mistake, it's just not going to work. All right, next argument is from where exactly we will take the data. So in our case, we are going to take the data from the variable database. So the data is stored inside the database, and this is where we are going to take it. So simply write down data, and the data that we are going to take will be taken from database. All right, so those are the 3 arguments that are mandatory for our graph or for our plot to be generated. So let's run everything and see what it all looks like. Oh, we forgot 1 argument down there. So we need to show everything. So it's gonna be plt.show. Here we go. There. So don't forget this little line of code as I did. All right, so simply run everything. So here we go, we have our graph right here. So this is the basic. So once again, here we have our graph. It looks pretty complicated to understand at first, but this is the one of the types of graph that we can generate with the cat plot. So basically there are plenty of other types of graph that we can generate. So as you can see, we automatically can see that July is the most important month of the year in terms of how many flights there is, or how many passengers there is. Well, how many passengers there is, and in the years that have been generated right here. So if we want to have something that is a bit more presentable, we can use a different type of graph for the cat plot. So basically, how do we do this? It's pretty simple. We are going to use the optional argument that is called kind. So we can choose the kind of graph that we want. So basically, we can have the strip, which is one of the arguments. In this case, we can use strip. And we can run and see what it looks like. So here we go. We have the strip right here. The strip is basically the thing by default. Then we can use another one, which would be, for example, the violin. Here you go. So this is another type of graph, which is the violin. So you'll see it's a bit, this one is a bit, well, it takes more space. So it's going to be more complicated if you guys want to generate it and make it bigger. And there are some other types. Well, there are plenty of types. The one that I personally prefer is box. So the kind box. So as you can see, it looks something like this. So automatically with this type of graph, we can automatically see that the month that we have the most people is the month of July. So let's just make it full screen. So as you can see, the month of July is the month where there is the most people. So even the mean of July is the highest. Then we can automatically see that the mean of, well, the month where there is the less people that are flying is the month of February. Because as you can see here, we have the lowest mean. But the lowest minimum will be in November. So in November, we have an extreme, which is the lowest extreme. But the month which is on average, where there is the less people flying, will be February, or the month right here. So as you can see, it's pretty cool what you guys can do with this type of graph, which is called the cat plot. Once again, let me just summarize everything that we have learned. So basically, as always, the lines of code right here are made to generate our database. Then after that, the cat plot right here. Pretty simple. We simply write down SB because we're making a reference to Seaborn. We write down cat plot because this is the type of plot that we need. We have 4 arguments, so basically the X, which is right here, the months. Then the number of passengers right here, which is the Y. Then we have our data, which is taken from database right here. And finally, the type of graph that we want. In this case, we want the box type, which is one type of graph. And to understand the graph, so basically what we can understand right here is that we can understand how many passengers have been flying in this plane, depending on the number of months. So I hope you guys understand everything until now. As you can see, it's not really complicated to understand this type of graph, and it's pretty straight to the point, so you guys can understand it pretty simply. So that's it for this class, guys, and see you all in our next class.